This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about.
This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, here with a Jacksonville Jaguars preview going into the final two games of the season. The Colts come into this game 8-7. The Jaguars are on a run. They're at 11-4. Wanted to knock this out before the Christmas holiday because I know a lot of people are going to be watching football, basketball, and with family, and I know not a lot of people are going to want to listen to a podcast, or maybe they will if they don't like their family. But anyway, I just wanted to jump on and do a quick preview. I've already covered in the previous game, which was I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Jags' offensive and defensive personnel. So we know what we're dealing with. Obviously, we got our butts kicked in that game and lost our quarterback. Just a all-around dark day for Colt fans. Really the beginning and the end of our season, in my opinion. That game was the most important game on our schedule, and we played a horrendous game, maybe the worst of the year. So anyway, just to get into this game a little bit, speaking on Jacksonville, the Jaguars are playing great football. They are a very, very good team. I personally think, based on watching Denver and New England and Buffalo, Houston, I think Jacksonville is playing the best of any of the AFC teams, which is, of course, par for the course. We get to play them when they're playing their best. That's always how it goes with us. But it doesn't matter. You play your schedule and it is what it is. But they're playing great football, man. Their coach has done a hell of a job. He's my coach of the year. He's done a great, great job. Their quarterback is playing great football. They're just a well-rounded team. They're very good on offense, defense, and special teams. They force turnovers. They're just, they went into Denver, a tough place to play, and just absolutely put a beating on them. They're the real deal. Jacksonville's the real deal. I could easily see them going to the Super Bowl. I don't think it's out of the question. In fact, if you ask me right now who my pick would be, it would probably be Jacksonville. This division isn't a joke anymore. Jacksonville is the best team in the division. Houston's got the best defense in the NFL, which travels, so they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. The Colts are middling, and then Tennessee's got their quarterback, and they're playing better. So this division is not going to get worse. It's going to continue to get better, so the Colts are going to have to keep up. But as far as this game goes, it's a bad matchup for the Colts in every way. Jacksonville's aggressive defense, their coordinator is outstanding. I think he will be a head coach at some point and probably will get interviews this year, Campanelli. So I like what they're doing. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Colts to stay competitive in. Their offense is playing well. Our defense is coming off one of the worst defensive performances I've seen in the last decade. So I don't have a lot of hope for a win in this game. I do want to see what Phil does with this defense and how he attacks it, because he's played really two great, well, I won't say the first game was a great game, but two games that were great in terms of not having negative plays, which is honestly the key to being a backup quarterback. Not necessarily making huge plays, but not having negative plays. Phil hasn't really had, outside of the 75-yard, 75-yard interception return or whatever. I don't hold that against him. A guy made a great play. The Colts are out of that game. They weren't going to win it. The defense couldn't get off the field the entire night. But my point is, I do think he gives us the best chance to win out of our quarterbacks, and I do think he'll probably play well. But I don't trust our defense versus Jacksonville. They're very physical on both sides of the ball. The Colts are not, and the Colts are beat up, which honestly, I don't think it would matter at this point, because you know what the Colts do when their butt is on the line. They generally lay down. So here's what I expect to happen. I expect Houston to go into LA and win, because every other thing's gone against the Colts, so why not? And that's a game on Saturday. So by the time this game gets played, the Colts will probably be out of the playoffs. In which case, I think they will probably play a competitive game, because that's how it works with them. When there's nothing on the line, they play better. If if not Vegas, if the Chargers win, and the Colts are still in the playoff hunt, I legitimately think the Colts get smoked in this game. Mainly because their special teams and defense are garbage and playing like garbage. And also Jacksonville's really good. We're playing the best team. Like the last 3 games are against, to me, they're playing the best of anybody in the NFL. Seattle, and then, Jacksonville, and then San Francisco's playing really well. This is just a hell of a way to end the season. These teams are all better than the Colts. It's simple as I can make it. They're all better than the Colts. I do think the Colts would have some chance if they had a healthy quarterback, and maybe, but again, the defense is the main problem with this team. So, bottom line though is, I think if the Colts are out of it, they'll play a better game. Just because it's just the way it always is. I know it sounds stupid. You would think it'd be the opposite, that they would play worse when there's nothing on the line. But I've got years of watching this team. When I want them to lose for the draft pick, they win games that I don't want them to win, that they don't need to win. And then when I want them to win, they play the absolute worst possible games you can play. So, again, if they're still in the playoff hunt, I think they get beat by 10 or more points. If they're not in the playoff hunt, I think they keep it within 10. No joke. So that's the way I feel about this game. I think Jacksonville was superior in almost every way. I think that they're going to, do what they did in the first game, and the Colts are just going to struggle on defense because they're just not physical enough, and they don't tackle well. And they don't execute. Other than that, they're great, right? But also, before I jump off here, because I wanted to do this quick preview, and just to get it out of the way, the Colts or the Jags are favored by 6.5 right now. Again, if Jacksonville, sorry guys, if the Chargers win and the Colts still have a chance to make the playoffs, I like Jacksonville 31-20. If the Chargers lose and the Colts are out of it, then I like the Colts to keep it close within maybe 4 points. We'll see what happens, but I definitely think they lose the game, bottom line. So, but before I jump off of here, I do want to congratulate Quentin Nelson. And let me see who I haven't seen a list of everybody that's made the Pro Bowl, which I don't really care about. But I do know, like, it's a big deal for the players. So let me just look this up real quick. I want to make sure I get because I know there's alternates as well, and I want to make sure that I get the right guys here. So I'm looking this up. This is really bad. My podcast is about as good as the Colts right now. But while I'm doing that, I do want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I did leave a little text on the last pod that I posted, the recap of the 49ers game. I just want to thank everybody for their support and subscribing and being a part of this little community that we have. And I want to wish everybody a happy New Year, a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great Christmas and your family's healthy and you have the best time. It's been as far as like the team goes, it's been a rough go, but as long as you have your health, and your family's health, that's really what's important. So I hope you guys get to spend your time with your family and and have a great Christmas and a great holiday season going forward. So Quentin Nelson obviously makes the Pro Bowl. Jonathan Taylor makes the Pro Bowl. JT's kind of struggled the last few weeks, but I think that's kind of because of who the quarterback's been, and also the O-line's been kind of decimated and it just hasn't played well. So those are the two guys. I mean, great players, great people. They deserve it. I think I saw that our alternates are Cam Bynum, who I think deserve to be heavily in contention for the Pro Bowl, and then Tyler Warren, who I think had a solid rookie year, and I think is going to be really good going forward. And then Michael Pittman, I didn't really get that. Like Michael Pittman hasn't really had a great year, but as far as I'm concerned, but he's an alternate. I would have thought Pierce would be an alternate. He's had much more of an effect on our season than Pittman has. But that's just me. And then Doolin, I think Doolin is an alternate as well. I think Doolin's a top 3 player as far as special teams in the league. You see how much we miss him. I really thought he should be a Pro Bowl player, not an alternate. I think he is so important to our special teams. He's just a great special teams player. Rarely gets penalties, is always down there making plays, can return the ball. I mean, he's just an absolute stud on special teams. So congrats to Quentin and JT, and also to our alternates. Obviously, it's more about team success. So I'm sure most of those guys would take the playoffs over Pro Bowl accolades or whatever. But those guys, for the most part, I think have played really good football all year and deserve to be recognized for it. I was just happy that like Zaire wasn't recognized, or somebody that just doesn't deserve it, because it's ridiculous. Like he doesn't need any more ego. Like that's so. And I don't want to get into a Zaire Franklin bashing session, but yeah, that guy, I think he's a big part of the problem with our culture in the locker room, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. So that's it, guys. This is only I've only been on for about 11 and a half minutes, but I just wanted to give you kind of a capsulized version of what I think is going to happen in this game. We already know the personnel. I went over it. If you need to go back and need a refresher on the personnel, the first game, it's all there. I'll probably do the same thing for Houston since we just played them, and I'll probably just break down what I think is going to happen because we already know their personnel. And again, you can go back and watch when I break it down. But like I said, I expect the Colts, whatever their fate is, the opposite's going to happen. So if they're still in contention, I think they're going to play bad. And if they're not in contention, I think they're going to play better. So with that, I am going to wrap this up. I am going to come back next week, and I think I'm going to talk about the blueprint of what I think I would do with this organization going forward. Like really get into the weeds on it. Maybe not next week, maybe after the season. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to definitely be, starting to get into my draft stuff, and I'll start posting and doing a lot more pods on specific players that I'm going to look at. If you guys want me to look at a player, just put it in the comments. I'm going to start breaking down film on these guys because that's really all we got. The draft, and who's going to be available at pick 50 or whatever we're picking at. So that's all we got. So that's what I'm going to do. The draft is fun. It's always fun to look at players and see how they fit the Colts. But moving forward, that's going to be my plan. So I hope you guys will come along for the ride because draft season's always fun. It's usually more fun than our actual season, to be honest with you. So, again, thank you for your support. Happy holidays. I will talk to you guys Sunday after the Colts-Jags game. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. You guys have a great one. Talk to you soon.